Hey, how are you? I'm Duncan McPherson, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a common topic between our two countries, the traps and pitfalls of thin capitalization. I will try to make this as interesting as possible for you, but fair warning, some of this stuff is going to sound a little annoying for you, so just bear with me, please. And as always, before we get going, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you want more tips on how to survive and thrive in the Canadian tax system as a US business or individual. Or if you'd rather cut through the nonsense and get expert help right now, contact me at themactax.com and let's get chatting. Okay, before I get going on the thin cap stuff, and there are two facts that you must keep in mind in order for you to better understand what I'm about to tell you. First, the interest that your company pays from Canada to the United States will not subject you to withholding tax. And secondly, dividends, on the other hand, will be subject to either 5% or 15% withholding tax depending on the situation. You are most likely aware of these two facts, but if not, please keep them in mind as I proceed. Okay, so back to my point for you today. As your country does not have any thin capitalization rules like mine does here in Canada, let me briefly explain the purpose of them. If you as an American own a Canadian business, you are limited on how much intercompany debt that you're permitted to pay interest on. And that limit for you is a debt equity ratio of 1.5 to 1. Still with me? Basically, for every dollar of equity you have in your Canadian corporation, you are allowed to lend your Canadian corporation $1.5. So if you've got $1 million of equity, you can lend your Canadian company up to $1.5 million and charge interest on that $1.5 million. If your intercompany debt is greater than $1.5 million, CRA will deny you any interest expense attributable to the debt above 1.5 million. You may want to take note that CRA has a few more weapons in their arsenal to make interest expense a real problem for you. In certain circumstances, CRA could reclassify your debt as equity, which will of course cause you to lose interest expense, and also recharacterize these interest payments as dividends, thus making the payments subject to dividend withholding tax. So I'd recommend taking a look at your whole debt equity structure so CRA doesn't come in and cherry pick your balance sheet, making your life miserable and their pockets heavier. Basically, just get yourself a qualified CPA that's knowledgeable in this area so he or she can have a look to make sure you're not in violation. Okay, fine, I get it. You're probably going to come across someone that says, hey, this shit applies to really large companies. And you know what? Historically, it mostly only has applied to really large companies. Go ahead, think that it doesn't apply to you. But I'll tell you right now, given the status of the trade war between our two countries, this could easily change and change in a hurry. I'm not asking you to go crazy on it. I'm just asking you to find someone to take a look at it. Because remember what I told you in my previous videos. It's very easy for CRA to lower the bar in this area and boom, you get zinged. Because remember, like I said before, CRA can program their computers to take a look at and analyze your financial statements and tax returns and target you and send you a review letter before a human even knows you're on the radar. And let me tell you, they have the computing power to do this easily. But for now, let's not get too stressed over thin cap. I would just be diligent about it if I were you. And as always, be sure to have someone take a look at it that knows what they're talking about. As you probably know, in the United States, you do not have codified thin capitalization rules like you do up here. Instead, your country relies on things like IRC Section 163J. And guess what? We copied you on this one. And we brought in Income Tax Act Section 18.2, which is basically a carbon copy of 163J. In other words, your interest expense is limited to 30% of adjusted business income up here, just like it is in the United States, or very close to it. And just like your 163J, we do have exceptions for certain types of businesses and size of businesses. For now, all you need to know is that here in Canada, you have to consider both thin capitalization and Section 163J. But wait, that's not all. It's Canada, of course. Here in Canada, all your deductions are subject to reasonability. Therefore, your interest expense is subject to CRA's interest reasonability guidelines. For example, if you have no assets to lend against or poor cash flow, ask yourself, would a third party even consider lending money to this company? If the answer is no, on this premise, CRA could easily reclassify your debt as equity. Now, don't panic here, though, because CRA would probably look at you and say to themselves, hey, their parent company could guarantee a third-party loan. Let's not reclassify them. So your loan interest may not be a problem even if you have poor cash flow and no lendable assets. Make sense? And between you and me, most of the problems I've told you about here can easily be avoided by working with someone that is knowledgeable in this area. So, number one, have a good CPA take a look at your capital structure. Number two, keep your bookkeeping up to date. And number three, make sure all your intercompany reconciliations are up to date. Cover these three things and you'll have no problems, I guarantee you. Because once again, I'm not interested in having you spend oodles of money on expensive CPA time. I'm asking you to spend oodles of money on cheap bookkeeping time and running the whole situation by a CPA that can help you out. Just think of it this way. Do I spend some money now on cheap bookkeeping? Or do I spend a shit to the CRA in interest, penalties, and sanity? Exactly. A little bit of prevention here will save you truckloads of problems in the future, and you'll be able to sleep at night. All right, my friend, that's it for today. And if you're dealing with any of these issues or any other Canadian tax quagmire, call me at themactax.com and make sure your quagmire does not become a nightmare. And always, don't forget to subscribe for more tax savings tips. Until next time, stay sharp, stay compliant, and stay out of tax trouble. I'll see you on the next video.